If you want to make something of yourself, forget your political beliefs. Politics is designed to be emotional. It's designed to divide households. It's designed to divide people, divide friends, divide families, and it's designed to destroy you. If you make it your entire belief system, if you make politics your entire livelihood and the entire thing you put all of your values and principles on, it will lead you to destruction. It will lead you to worse relationships, and it will lead you to just less fulfillment in your life and more regret and more misery. So forget about politics. You have to learn to realize that politics is not about, like, this world is not about left versus right. Politics, it's very easy to say, oh, the other person, the other side of the coin. I'm on the right side, they're on the wrong side, and regardless of what aisle you fall on politically. But if you want to make something great, especially if you want to make money, if you want to make money, you want to get rich, you want to be successful in this world, forget about it. Just don't even pay the slightest attention to it. I had to personally learn this lesson myself. So now I'm going to share what I've kind of learned and experienced, as I followed the 2024 US election campaign and as I followed the 2025 Canadian election campaign. What I learned from, my experience of that has taught me a lot about just how slimy and scummy politics are and how all these politicians, they don't actually care about you. It's all a slimy game. And once you realize some of these things that I'm going to tell you right now, you'll realize that it serves you in a much greater way to just forget about it. Politics doesn't serve you at all in any way. So, first of all, it's not about left versus right. It's about belief in God. What does God want from you? How does God want you to act? What are the values that God and Jesus Christ teaches himself? That's like, there's a great thing that George Janko said. It's like, I'm not on the left, I'm not on the right. Where I fall is I fall at the center of the cross, which is to say that it's about what God wants, it's about what Jesus wants, not about what, liberal, conservative. If I had to be honest with myself, my values lean more conservative, but I don't care. I don't care about that stuff because, there are many amazing liberal people. There are many amazing conservative people. But what politics does is it kind of distorts that reality and makes someone on the left look at someone on the right and think everyone on the right's evil, and vice versa. Someone on the right looks at someone on the left, makes it think everyone on the left's evil. But that's not the case. It really is good versus evil. It's radicalism that destroys things. And the more you follow politics, the more prone you are to developing radical beliefs. And I had to stop myself from doing that. So that's why I'm here today. And that's why I have this super strong opinion that's to say, forget about politics. Don't even pay the slightest attention to any of it. And I'm going to go through some of the reasons today as to why I hold these beliefs and why I believe that truly, for you to have a better life, don't even pay attention. You have to get what's yours. All politics does is it offsets what you're trying to do, and politics is the hope that some new guy, it's the lie that some new guy will come in and fix your problems. That the old guy is wrong, the old guy has messed things up, the new guy will come in and fix your problems. But that's not the case. And I'm here to tell you that today, that is not the case at all. Many, many people fell into that cycle of thinking that Trump was going to be the savior, he was going to give so many things. No law, no tax law is going to help you make more money. For example, if you want to make more money, it's all down to the work that you put in. It's all down to actually what you do. It doesn't matter who the president is. It doesn't matter who's in office in whatever country you're in. What matters is how much work you put in. No matter who's in there, no taxes, no laws, no nothing is going to change your fate, and it's going to save you. People think that this new guy is going to be the solution to everything, but it's not. In politics, it's so easy to destroy everything if you're a leader, and many leaders do that because they're inconsiderate and they're irresponsible and they're not fit for the job. But it's so much harder to build stuff back up. Even if the person that's been elected wants to, it's so much easier said than done because of all the bureaucracy, all of the unelected officials that are at the top, the true people that run the world in the background. And that makes it so nothing can happen. Regardless of if they want to or not, nothing is going to happen. Nothing is going to change in your life. So why are we focused on voting for this person because you have to get this guy elected because he's gonna fix the country? No one's gonna fix the country. The West is already kind of too far gone, and I'll be here in Canada until things get way too out of control, but things are already in a downward spiral, for sure. And in America, it's even worse. And in some countries in Europe, it's even worse. In the UK, forget about it, man. And, well, disagreeing and arguing with people is just a waste of your time and energy. It will, with the people around you, your family and friends, you will have different opinions. And I personally have fallen victim to getting into certain arguments like that. You will have different opinions. And for some reason, because I guess it's our entire livelihood and it's the entire thing that so many people put their entire lives on, politics becomes an emotional thing. It shouldn't be, but it really becomes an emotional thing. And it's just a waste of time and energy. It destroys your relationships because the emotional barriers, you don't see eye to eye, and then it leads even people around you, your friends and family, to think that you're the enemy, or you to think that they're the enemy, when really it's not the case. So when you just don't even worry about politics, you focus on living your life, and the way they want to live their lives is the way they live their life. It'll make everyone in your circle just more content, more happy, more loving of each other, more appreciative of each other, rather than focusing on the negative aspects, the things you disagree on. And all politics does, it's there to create division. It is the government's way, it is the devil's way to put a wrench in the relationships with the people around you. It's to say, instead of actually going out and getting what's yours, being individualistic, saying, all right, no, I'm going to make money, I'm going to do this regardless of who's in office and all this stuff. Instead of that, it focuses on causing division, causing tension, between people in your family, your friend group, your inner circle, and even people on a wider scale in countries, right? In cities, in states, in countries. And it just serves nobody. It just serves absolutely nobody I wouldn't even say vote. Don't even vote, man. Because it's not gonna, it's not gonna change anything. And you know that if you want to go out and get what you want to get, it's not going to make a difference who's in office. So I would say don't even vote. But if you're gonna vote, just vote. Don't waste hours of your time studying and watching debates and looking at who the best candidate is and talking over ideas and stuff and getting into emotional arguments with your family and friends. It's all just a waste of time. It's all slob. It's all garbage. So don't even bother with any of that. And if you're gonna vote, just look at a guy, you say you like him, vote. That one doesn't take too long to do. But it's everything else that's around it, that surrounds your entire ideology, that's a problem. That will hurt you and will hold you back from reaching your goals. And you won't solve the world's problems anyway. Let's be real. There's 8 billion people in the world, and we're just one speck. I'm just one speck. I'm just one person, right? Especially you, if you don't have any other things going on, you're just a person that's trying to make it in this world, and you're being a dickhead because you think you have all the solutions to the world's problems. And I admit I fall victim to sometimes thinking about that mentality and having that mentality. But really you have to realize you're not going to. Nothing you say or do in these arguments and these discourses are not going to solve the world's problems. So the only way you'll even have the smallest amount of chance of solving the world's problems, which isn't even a guarantee, is if you make a lot of money. Because if the more money you have, the more you can give back to people, give back to the world, help the poor, and help other countries do better, right? And other people do better. That's the only way. And you're not going to make the money focusing on all of this garbage and all of this discourse and all of this just slob that's being pushed out to try and get you to become brainwashed to the system. The only worldly impact you might have is if you actually go out and make money. But to do that, you have to focus on yourself, focus on getting what's yours, rather than focusing on what other people are going to do, what other people think, what other people say. You're going to hold unnecessary resentment for days and weeks after certain conversations and arguments that you have with people in your family, especially if they're people very, very close to you, and you get on each other's nerves and you insult each other, and it can get that ugly. It can go that far. I speak from experience that I've had moments like that. And so it's just completely useless. Not only are you just creating unnecessary tension, you're putting your life's values on something that really doesn't matter, political views. And you're not even going to change the world with you're not even going to make an impact on the world anyway. And you're going to hold unnecessary resentment for people. You're going to think that they're evil when in reality, really most people aren't evil. The worst of the radicals are evil, but that's on either side. It's not anything political. It's good versus evil, not left versus right. It has nothing to do with the political spectrum. It's about who people are as individuals that get realized and are able to be shown by their political beliefs and political violence and riots and protests and all of this stuff. The only case where you should be focusing on politics is if you actually want to be a politician, because of course that's your work, that's your livelihood, that's something that's important. But I personally wouldn't recommend it, because that game, especially if you want to try and change the world in some way, that game is such a slimy, such a scandalous game of lying and snaking your way through interviews and disagreement and hate and discourse. And even if you do end up getting through all that and becoming a world leader, a prime minister, even a member of parliament, an elected official or something like that, in some regard, some capacity, it's just, you're just going to be overwhelmed by all of the bureaucracy, all of the unelected officials, the people secretly working in the background, the people that have the true power, the true money in the world, the true control in the world. And you won't make change anyway. So I wouldn't even recommend running for politics. But if that's something you want to do, that's the only applicable case that you should be focusing on political things. Any other case, any other pursuit in your life, and I imagine the people, if you guys are watching this video, you would not be, wanting to run for government. Just don't even bother. If you're not going to, don't even give it the smallest bit of your attention. And politics is just one big game. You have to realize that it's just one big lie, it's one big game, it's one big facade, that it's designed to get you hooked. But really, nobody cares about you or about the world. Anyone that gets elected usually is in it for them, usually is in it for the money, the power, the status, and in a more sinister fashion, the control that you can have from it. Especially, again, those unelected scumbags at the top that are running everything really in secret, that most people don't know about, but are truly there. They don't care about you. They care about them. And they definitely don't care about the world. They care about appeasing their fan base, appeasing their riding, their group, so that they can continue to be elected. It has nothing to do with actually caring about you, actually caring about the world. Like, I look at my city. I live in Toronto. The things we're talking about, we're putting on freaking events and big parades and stuff. We want to fix bike lanes. We want to add bus lanes to the road. We're adding some extra subway lines. That's what we're doing here. We're doing that instead of focusing on the housing crisis, the crime crisis, the homelessness crisis. Instead of focusing on any of these important issues, let's have some more subway lines. It's just cuckoo land, man. When you really realize that this whole thing is just cuckoo land and they don't actually care about you in any way, shape, or form, you know that you can abandon these ideas and values, focus on God, focus on the principles he teaches, because they're the real truth. Those are the real truths, the real good, the real fulfillment in life comes from acting on those principles. Once you realize that, you realize you can actually go out and get what's yours. You'll actually go out and pursue something for yourself rather than focusing on all this other garbage and just put it to the side. You really think Bill Gates, Steve Jobs, Jeff Bezos gave any damn about who was in office? No. They were hustlers. They got stuff done. They had an idea. They had a big idea that could change the world, and they made it happen. They didn't care about who was in office or who's being elected. They didn't have political debates. They were focused on their mission, their goal, and they worked day and night to make it happen. And now they've profited in the greatest successes because they're the most rich and successful people in the world right now. So of course they're an easy example to look at. But if you want to even have a sliver of the wealth that they have, tiny little, 0.001% of the wealth they have, you shouldn't even think about it. Don't even think about the politics. Focus on yourself, focus on grinding, focus on the things you can do to grow and improve and change and get better every day, so that eventually it translates to making money. Focus on serving people, on helping people, on being a good person, on being a very faithful person, trust and belief in God, following his principles, and eventually things will work out. And of course, you have to have a lot of patience too. Things will work out though. You're guaranteeing failure if instead of focusing on yourself, you're focusing on waiting for this new guy to come into office because he's going to change the tax code and it's going to help you make more money. That's not the case. That's not going to get you anywhere. It didn't get anyone who's already successful anywhere, and it's definitely not going to help you. I can guarantee that. Even if I'm not successful myself yet, I'm on a path and I'm moving in the right direction. And one day I believe I will be. So when you can come back to these videos in the future and you can say, yeah, no, he's kind of right, even if I'm not there yet. But I will be. And again, I'm only talking about this because I fell so deep into the political kind of rabbit hole of thinking that I'm choosing conservative values, most of my family has liberal values, I'm going against the grain, they're the enemy, I'm the good. I fell into that type of mentality. That's the only reason why I'm so passionate about getting this message across, because I myself fell into that mentality, and it put me in a bad place. It put me in a zone of very negative thinking, a very cynical thinking, and that's the worst thing you can do, is be negative, cynical, pessimistic on life and on the future. And that's all politics does. It makes you realize just how crazy things are, and it makes you realize just how messed up the world truly is, and it just creates unnecessary resentment. So once I was able to push back past that, say, all right, forget about this, I'm done following any of this. Once I was able to push past that, I just received more peace, more joy. Once I gave it to God, I received more just peace, fulfillment, and I was able to focus on the goals, and I'm still focusing on the goals that I'm currently pursuing, and that I pursue to make my life a great life, rather than focusing on the negativity that comes with all of this political nonsense. I'm only telling you this because I went through it myself, and it is just, even if you don't become successful, you'll be living a life with a lot more peace if you aren't just arguing all the time about political nonsense. And one last little point here. Democracy does not work because people are stupid. That's a quote from someone. I don't remember who. Forgive me for not knowing the name of the person who said that. But there's so many times, man. You have this new mayor in New York that's like a communist or something. I'm not even paying attention to this garbage, but I see headlines and stuff, and they're going to get him elected in New York. That's just a small example. Look at the governor of California. Just another example. Democracy doesn't work because people are stupid. The politicians, they succeed in brainwashing you, in persuading you, in selling you the fact that they're the right person for the job, even if their internal intentions are so clearly wrong and so clearly put in the wrong places and so clearly there to destroy rather than build and create and grow and improve. Like the cities and the provinces, the states and the countries, that the multitude, the massive amount, the multitude of people really get convinced falsely that these guys are going to be the solution. But really they're not. So that's why democracy doesn't work, because so many people don't actually read between the lines. So many people just, get brainwashed, and they're so easily persuaded that this one guy, oh yeah, because I am a Democrat, I have to vote for the Democrat guy, even if he's an absolute moron. People have that opinion. Unfortunately, they do. I hope it's not you, and if it is you, I hope and I pray that you get out of that and really realize just how destructive that those types of behaviors can be and how one-dimensional they can be. But then, as a result of all of that, some idiot gets elected into some position. Some guy that's so not ready for the job, or his values are just going to destroy the city. That's the current mayor we have in Toronto, and that's the current, that's the potential future mayor of New York. And I'm sure there are a bunch of other elections that are running in a similar direction. So it's just cuckoo land. It's just cuckoo land, nonsense, garbage, slop. That once you realize that, if you realize these things and put politics behind you, your life will improve in so many amazing ways. I'm going to conclude this episode by just saying exactly that. That it is just so unnecessary, so feeble, so resentful, so negative so violent, that if you shift your main core values to, instead of being put on these political beliefs, you shift your main core values to being put on godly beliefs, on the teachings of Christ, preferably, but even, regardless of where your religion lies, if spiritually your values are put in a spiritual thing and in the belief in God, rather than on these political things, you will find much more joy, much more peace, much more fulfillment in your life, and much more contentment in yourself and who you are. And you will find that you grow in respect, you grow in stature, you grow as a person. And maybe eventually you get so big that politics actually does become a thing because you have big influence. But as you're climbing the ladder, as you're growing, as you're young, and as you're learning and how to experience the new world, it's just some simple realizations that it's all garbage. It's all just cuckoo land. Nobody there really cares about you. You won't be able to affect anything anyway. It's just there to, as the devil's way, to purposefully divide households and divide you from your family and from your friends, and make you think that they're the enemy when they're not. They're truly not. And it's the lie that's been told to everyone that things will change because of a new person. But reality, the only person that can change the world, that can truly solve countries, states, cities, and even individual households' issues and problems, the only person is the Lord and Savior Jesus Christ. And once you realize that, you'll find more joy, more passion in yourself and in your life. And you'll find your relationships are much more improved, much better, much more fulfilling, and much more whole and true, because you don't focus on all of this garbage, and you focus on just, the task at hand, and focus on loving the people around you rather than hating, because politics provokes hate, provokes anger. And, I apologize if I went a little too much, if I went a little too angry, went a little too hard on this topic, but I really want to get this point home that for you and your life to do better, politics is completely useless. It doesn't serve you in any way. So cut the crap, forget about all this bullshit. Sorry for swearing, right? I'm a Christian man, I don't like swearing, but I have to just get the point home. Really, really just drive it in, drive the point home, and make sure you know that it is all bullshit. And it doesn't actually make a difference in your life. The only thing that makes a difference in your life is your belief, your faith, and how much work you're truly willing to put in to your pursuits.